Are we ready for another thriller in Sevilla? That's what the Philippines and Croatia gave us in game one. The coaches know each other so well. They know their schemes so well. It's a matter of execution. It's a matter, of course, of seeing who's available to for Puerto Rico, because Bachman really, not only does he provide you tremendous pick and roll defense outside and in, but he also can score on a pick and roll defense in a team from Puerto Rico that's a little bit challenged to score down low.
Well, the great thing to carry that point on is, as we see the three officials, Mr. LaMonica, Enen, and Belasovic, and to go back to the point about Bachman, the great thing about that is because there's so much potential from the perimeter for Puerto Rico, there's space to play under there. And they've got to be able to exploit that. And whether Diaz steps up like he did in the prep game where he had 14 points when they played each other in Serbia a week or so ago, if he can do that for as many minutes as he can, great. And then Daniel Santiago, you know he's going to play 100% with his heart, but can they guard that roster which has Scolo on the inside, who's a phenomenon when it comes to scoring on it close and around the bucket.
Interesting enough, this edition of Argentines, as we see Walter Herman come back after a 3-year absence from basketball, spend a year playing for his local club team. Last year went to Atenas de Córdoba, became the MVP of the National League, now is signed to play for Flamenco, and now he's here as a starting small forward. What a story is Walter Herman.
His whole life is a story
Yes.
that is just a phenomenon that if you know about the Walter Herman story, he is just, find out if you don't. But here's the Puerto Rican roster, and it's headlined by Barrera and it's headlined by Arroyo, but it's not those two that are going to be the difference for me. Can Bachman play? Can Santiago give minutes? And can Diaz contribute for long enough?
A clash of styles normally when these two teams face. Alex Franklin is a very good defensive small forward. David Huertas is playing with plantar fasciitis in his left foot. And interesting enough, we talked about it yesterday, Barea will come off the bench. Puerto Rico understands that while those two together can be potent, they're probably better off splitting them up, and Barea already has told the coaching staff many, many times, if you need me, I'll come off the bench.
Well, it's first half in particular, as we see the players to really key on, and Scholars are given, obviously, 18 and nearly 19 points in the 2013 FIBA Americas Championship. Barrera's coming off 17 points recently in the South American Championships, as well as his performance last year in the FIBA Americas. But for me, it's Argentina will execute. They have experience. In Pablo Prigioni, they have one of the best passing guards in world basketball. It's how Puerto Rico cope with this Argentinian lineup. If they can hang in, and they will get runs because they'll score points. And Coach Lamas knows it's a 40-minute game for Argentina, because if they take 5 minutes off, Barrera can hit 20 in that period of time. So they've got to wear this team out.
Paco Olmos, of course, is a Spaniard. He took on the reins of his team in part to come to his home country and impress a lot of people with what we can do with Puerto Rico. It's still the Caribbean play of massive pressure defense, playing the passing lanes and scoring a lot of points off turnovers in fast breaks, but he's also structured their defense a little bit better. It's what the Argentines would call a little bit more fit. As we see Julio Lamas, I nicked him personally, that's not his nickname, but I nicked him the Professor. Intellectual, you'll never see him lose his cool, and he's as a way of breaking down instructions to his players that they respond very, very well. He was an assistant in 2008 for Sergio Hernandez, then later on Sergio became his assistant in 2012 in the Olympics. Big game for this relatively young coach, who coached Valencia, the second division team for Valencia in 2002-2003, and was considered then the best coach, bar category, in Spain. He lost his job eventually with Valencia, ended up in Puerto Rico coaching the Santurce Crabbers, Cangrejeros de Santurce, and eventually was offered the job replacing Puerto Rican Flor Melendez. It's the first foreign-born, non-American, non-U.S. coach that Puerto Rico has ever had. Argentina dressed in black, Puerto Rico dressed in white. And tell us a little bit about Luigi LaMonica. You get to see him a lot in EuroLeague games.
I would say, and I'm not a referee, so therefore my opinion is not that valuable on this. He is the best, one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to officials at that level. He has a great rapport with players, great understanding of the game. and he's always in control with his ability.
Maybe except for the toss.
Well,
they have to retoss.
Maybe even the best get nervous.
Yeah, they reset the 10 minutes, and off we go. Scola and Ricky Sanchez, who played in the Argentine League last year. Puerto Rico gets the ball. Ronaldo Balkman attacks the basket. He misses. And quickly, Andres Chapu Nocioni has the ball. And very quickly, Alex Franklin commits the first foul. So the referee's already making their presence felt.
Well, they had to call that. It was just a frantic start. And they'll be disappointed because straight from the tip, they miss a layup. And then like a foul that's 30 meters from the basket. And it's a waste of a foul.
Interesting. The man with the plantar fascia is guarding the quickest man on Argentine's lineup, as we see Nocioni turn around and make a basket. He'll be praying for Real Madrid after the economic implosion of Vitoria, Baskonia in Endesa League. Another attempt at a steal. Arroyo recovers. Foul by Scola, his first.
Well, going back to the easy two from Nocioni, if Ricky Sanchez doesn't want to play defense, Nocioni will go for 30 points because he's not shy at shooting the basketball inside and out, and he just gave him the middle. Gets 2 feet from the hoop. I can't believe that the Puerto Ricans are going to offer the middle to this Argentinian team.
Arroyo getting everybody's attention here. Here comes Sanchez. It's good. This is something that Sanchez could do before, but ironically, it was in the Argentinian League in the past 2 or 3 seasons that the Argentine coaches are asking him to do more of that.
Well, that was quick. That was very quick. Quick first step. And that's, it's Luis Scolari's going past. Herman gets the 2.
And the foul. A second one on Franklin. Backdoor, Franklin completely lost track.
Well, that's just, again, poor defense, good read. I mean, you saw the little down screen where everybody played that, and then Herman just read it, flashed to the basket, and they've scored 2 from 2 feet, first 2 times down for Argentina.
Well, they keep Franklin in the game. Herman makes a 3-point play, and Argentina is up by the minimum. Arroyo being guarded by Campazzo. Here comes Bachman. Over to Ricky. Outside to Arroyo. Great setup, but it's a miss. Scola, who has been named the... Oh, here comes Bachman. That's Puerto Rico's game. A flop by Campazzo. The referees, wise he didn't do anything. Huertas with a miss, rebounded by Chapu Nocioni.
Well, Huertas made that whole thing happen, denied the outlet pass to Campazzo, which caused Argentina to look somewhere else. So it's good at that end in terms of the full court pressure and destruction coming back, but they are in the half court, just not playing defense at all.
A foul on Huertas. Interesting enough, Puerto Rico is hiding Arroyo defensively by having him guard Prigioni, and they're asking Huertas to keep up with Campazzo.
Risky strategy on Prigioni. He's not known to shoot a lot, but if you stand off him, he will knock it down.
Herman again gets a little edge, and he scores. Oh my, does he look like he's 35?
Well, he does look like he's 35. Everybody on that defense for Puerto Rico look like they're older than 35. Giving him the middle every single time, and it's just, Walter Herman's a great story, whatever way you look at it.
Indeed, as he grabs the rebound, he had a falling out with Coach Ruben Magnano. That's why he left the national team. Didn't want to have anything to do with it. Campazzo with the hesitation, and Sanchez with the block. Get that out of here, says Ricky Sanchez.
The Puerto Rican bench is up applauding the block, but they were bowed out here. Again, no defense. They switched and didn't communicate, and Sanchez fortunately stayed alive to it and gets the good block.
He's a 7-footer. He's a 2'13" legit player, and now there's a call.
He's very active, isn't he, Sanchez? Maybe you look at him, you think he maybe should have achieved more because he's got everything you need. He's got the athleticism, the strength, the touch.
The outside 3-point shot, as we see coming to the game, A.D. Vasallo, Angel David Vasallo for Puerto Rico.
Argentina really acts great defense.
Another steal by Bachman. Can he finish this time? Oh, yeah! Oh, yes, he does! Oh, my!
That's one way to make sure you don't mess a layup up. But that's from their defense. Their defense is everything.
And that was a teaching moment for Julio Lamas. He turned to the bench immediately. Scola with a pick and pop. Lethal. Lethal. He's guarded by Bachman. Here comes another drive by Herman. Miss and rebounded by Bachmann.
It's still a good sign for Argentina. They're getting to the basket too easily.
Off a screen comes Arroyo. Bachmann really decides to shoot with 13 seconds on the clock. That was a bit of a wasted possession. Giving the ball to Bachmann on the corner is a tricky thing if he's not cutting to the basket. Here comes Nocioni, wide open. It's good.
I'll repeat it. If you're going to leave Andres Nocioni open, Andres Nocioni's going to score. He's not going to shoot, he's going to score.
He looks trim. He looks in great fighting shape.
Well, I saw him a lot last year. He looks in better shape than I've seen him for a long time.
Vasallo guarded by Scola. He pulls up for the three, and it is good. Perfectly capable of doing that.
That's a tough matchup for Scola, taking him away from the basket. You've got to take that. If he offers it at this stage in the game, take it.
Argentina up by 3. Campazzo really is being the point guard here. As we see a foul, unnecessary foul by Carlos Arroyo. That's his first. They're really letting Campazzo make decisions, and Brignoni's playing off him.
Well, and he's doing a really nice job as we see the Portman steal, and this is going to be worth watching. Because Nocioni's not going to let him get that too easily. It's a great finish, great defense.
Well, you'll be able to see those pictures and those videos on FIBA.com anytime you like, on demand, around the world. Campazzo makes the first free throw.
It's interesting that the moment when Puerto Rico switching around the ball screen, they had the mismatch where Nocioni was under before the foul was called. Campazzo finds himself guarded by a big. There's not a lot of help when they switch and they leave the small guard and the big under the bucket. There's not a lot of weak side help, and you know Argentina is smart enough to exploit that, especially as Scholars just spacing the floor at the moment.
Both teams come off really tough losses in the last exhibition game. Puerto Rico against Turkey, Argentina against host Spain. Arroyo, deadly two-point shooter.
Well, he was looking for it, wasn't he? He's looking to get himself going, looking to tick the scoreboard over. He'd missed a couple of open looks. Goes to that little soft penetration to the foul line, trademark.
Low post move for Nocioni. Herman flashed. Here comes a double team against Scola. Campazzo's all alone. They see him finally. Herman's all alone for a second. Tough shot by Nocioni, and he makes it.
Well, he had it earlier on. In the options were there earlier on, but the Argentina moved the ball so well coming out of the double team.
Oh, a floater by Vasallo, and it's no good. Argentina right now has made 5 of 7 shots, 71%.
And a lot of that's because they've been given the middle. Far too easily.
Goes for the steal, and Scola punishes him.
Right around the basket again. I can't understand the way that the big threats are getting the ball where the big threats want it. It's far too easy at the moment. I don't think Puerto Rico can outscore Argentina if they let them shoot from there.
First foul by Brignoni, tangled up with Ronaldo Bachmann. Well, Bachmann right now has 2 steals. He wanted to go for number 3. He's supposed to be the rim protector.
Well, the great thing for him though about Bachmann, he looks healthy. He looks as healthy as anybody else out there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And he will go to the line. He was toying with the interior defense of Argentina. I'm not sure Arroyo knew what he was doing, but certainly Argentina didn't know what Arroyo meant to do. And he draws a foul.
And Campazzo does not need to go for steals on the foul line against Arroyo. If he misses, he's going to end up where he is.
Carlos Arroyo has had some very fine seasons. First with Besiktas in the TVL in the Turkish League, replacing Darren Williams. And then the Besiktas coach took him over to Galatasaray. He's had a couple of very, very fine seasons last year and this year. Maybe not as heralded this year in terms of trophies and achievements, but a tremendous season for a 35-year-old.
14 points a game, 6 assists in the EuroLeague, and they made the second round. He carried that team, not just his own points, the way he created for his teammates.
Makes both, and he cuts now the deficit to Argentina down to 6. Halfway through the first quarter. Inside to Scola, outside to Brignoni. What a way to move the ball. Nocioni just cannot convert. Here comes Carlos Arroyo. tell you what, the screens that Sanchez sets, he's a big guy, but he doesn't take advantage of that body. As Vasallo goes in, the ball can be touched over the cylinder, of course, and Argentina with another nifty move to avoid a Puerto Rican basket.
That just sums up Andres Nocioni. They never quit on the play at all. He was playing around the ring, gets a little piece of it.
Herman's being left alone, and Scola makes the long distance basket.
The pick and pop, the Luis Scola. Well, he went 1 from 10 against Spain in the last pre-prep game, and everyone's like, has he got it? That's what Luis Scola's done for his whole career. That pick and pop, it's tough to guard.
Worked that stuff to the basket. No good. Rebounded by Nocioni. Strong.
Way to go to work on the glass. The veterans showing the young guys how to play hard.
Nocioni wants to use Herman, who's been at times all alone, especially on the weak side. Nocioni fakes the three. Another tip by Bucker, but also a foul. And almost is not in accordance.
Booker's defense at the moment is all or nothing, isn't it? It's a steal or it's a foul.
I wonder if the fact that he can't move or thinks he can't move makes him go for steals.
That's what it looks like.
18-10, Argentina leads Puerto Rico. There's a timeout. Of course, as Paco almost usually harps on defense, that's really what he wants. Let's listen to him.
Oh, his defense at the moment has been, well, it just hasn't been there. They've given up the penetration. They've given up the middle as well, which is even worse. They haven't been able to rotate. They don't appear to be very organized again when the switch happens. And at the moment, Argentina are really making great decisions around whatever they do offensively. Walter Herman's a revelation at 35. He's more active than anybody else. He's the guy making the slash cuts. He's coming off the little flex cuts to make the cut from the weak to the strong side. And he hasn't looked 35.
Scola taking advantage of the shots. I think Puerto Rico's doing a little bit of over-guarding, overextending their defense, and Argentina is doing a little backdoor cut here and there and just keeping them honest, keeping them off balance.
Oh, yeah, Campazzo and Prigioni can shoot the three, and Nocioni's obviously demonstrated he can. But they made 1-3, and they're all over everything, and they're just giving up stuff off the dribble. And Andres Nocioni doesn't mind if he gets them in 2s, 1s, or 3s. He doesn't care.
My favorite expression when teammates talk about Chapo Nocioni is that they would go to hell as long as Nocioni is next to them as their bodyguard. They will go to the end of the earth as long as this man is going with them, because they feel protected. They feel that they're going to make it out of it, out of any situation. And that is one of the true testaments to one of the great, great players that Argentina has ever produced. Here comes Salem Safar, a lefty three-point specialist, as Prigioni takes a seat. Prigioni's 37 years old, the oldest rookie in NBA history with the New York Knicks a couple of years ago. Barea is on the court now with Arroyo. Oh, what a crossover. And Arroyo just cannot make the three. Puerto Rico has opened up not so sweet from the perimeter. They've only made 1 of 4 three-point attempts. Campazzo driving. Inside to Nocioni. It's good.
He just took Barrera to score. You know, he had the horn set. He had both high screens. Took him one way, took him the other, and then when he realized Barrera tried to cheat on him, he just went off the screen, read it, made a great pass.
The referees are warning Nocioni not to have a delay of game, not to touch the ball after a made basket. And
it's a great start by Argentina, 21 points at a great percentage. And that's as much down to the fact that at the moment Puerto Rico just can't or won't guard them as it is the quality of the Argentinian offense. Here's the play here. Gets him one way, gets him the other, and he's just gone. And Barrera just tried to play him a little soft, and he just took advantage and read it so well.
Here comes Barea all the way in. He's blocked by Nocioni. Good transition defense, initial transition defense. Back to Campazzo. Nocioni's all alone again. Barea didn't make the appointment on time. And here's Herman.
If you are not going to challenge the shot, expecting the miss, you better box out or own the glass. At the moment, they're just being outworked as well as outplayed by Argentina.
Offensive foul by Ricky Sanchez. We're talking about soft screens. Well, that's a hard one, and it cost him a foul. What's more troubling to Puerto Rico? What's happening on defense or what's happening to them on offense? I mean, we have not given credit, perhaps, to what Argentina is doing on defense as well.
I think the more worrying thing is you've given up 23 points in 8 minutes, and you've given them up without Argentina having to make great plays.
The winner, Leo Gutierrez, 10 championships in his career. He may still get a couple before he's done. Herman runs out of space. Here comes Barea.
He still got to the ring, though.
Full throttle. Barea, hesitation, outside to Vasallo. He blows by Herman, floats it in. They finally stop an Argentine run. And they're now 11 points down with less than 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. The professor must be very happy. These two teams met in an exhibition in a tournament in Serbia. And Puerto Rico really, I'm not going to say they handled Argentina, but they kept the lead. And in the second half, Jorge Brian Diaz, who normally sits deep in the bench from Puerto Rico, and it's a warm-up game, came out and had a great second half. It earned them a spot on this team. Safar with the fake, the floater. It's good.
That's a great first step. The way he turned, just curled on that screen, gets the little space, gets separation from it, just nails it.
And Barea hits the three on the other end. Puerto Rico showing a little bit of life at the end of the first quarter.
I don't doubt they can score. At certain points in this game, they're going to have runs, but they've got to play at this end. Argentina could have 30 in this first quarter.
Oh, again, Safar. Long rebound. Ricky Sanchez, who has a good handle. Back to Vasallo. Cross court to Arroyo. Nice transition. Nice rotation there by Campazo. Double team on Arroyo. Offensive foul.
That's great defense.
He just wanted to swat a fly. Arroyo wanted to. And it's his second foul.
You can't do that.
Too obvious.
You can't put your palm of the hand. It's the same thing we've said before. Makes it so easy for the official if he sees that palm of the hand so obviously on the other player, offensively or defensively.
In Argentina, they call that viveza criolla, the local smarts. To know that Arroyo was probably going to have some kind of reaction, anticipate it, and then make sure that it is shown to be amplified. There you go. Another one. Now it's Campazo falling for that trap. Nope, the foul's on Barea.
Yeah.
I thought it was the same identical play.
Oh, no, that one, I think there's a dip. I'm not sure.
No, it isn't Campazo.
Yeah, it's a Campazo.
It isn't Campazo, okay.
I thought there'd also been a call on the baseline, but no, because there's a lot of traffic around Scholar and Herman on the baseline.
Pressure on Barea by Campazo. Last 30.
Great matchup, isn't it? Great matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Campazo and Barrera.
Nice cut. Oh, another slam dunk by Ronaldo Buckman, and a nice feed. Turnaround feed.
Yeah.
Like he's a waiter at a restaurant. And we have only 20 seconds to go. It's an 8-point game. Oh, too easy. Barea has been a little slow in keeping up with his assignment on defense.
They're just out. It's as basic as he's just not in stance. He's away from the ball. He just relaxes. At some point, personal pride will kick in for this Puerto Rican team. They'll start to play defense.
A little horns play, and Barea is feeling it right now. At the end of the first quarter, 27-17, Argentina beats Puerto Rico. The good news, Ronaldo Buckman is active, maybe not 100%. The bad news, they're down 10 against Argentina.
Oh, those statistics tell you everything you need to know about where Argentina have just dominated the game. 77%, because Puerto Rico shooting 46 and 40. It's not as if they're stone cold out there. They've just given up so many easy looks. And it started with like this first play of the game. Nocioni gets to the charge circle with an easy lay-in with no one stepping in. We're going to get a the overhead view. No help stepped in. Sanchez let him go back to the middle. And then Herman just repeated it fast side of the ring off the glass, but the middle was wide open. And it's that all or nothing. Borkman comes up with steal, but he's also come up with a couple of situations where he's missed. That may be the injury. You cannot leave Nocioni open. We said if he's open, he's going to score. He's not going to shoot or whatever else. He's going to score. And they give him the middle again. Gets too deep. And it's a tough shot, but it's a tough shot from 5 feet.
He's got 10 points. Herman has 7. And here's Luis Scola.
And Scola gets the baseline move. Just guard him. Luis Scola's coming off 1 from 10. Find out if he's going to make a shot tonight before you get his confidence up with a layup. This isn't the problem for me for Puerto Rico. Offense isn't the issue. They have a 19-point haul in a quarter, shooting around 40 plus, nearly 50% from the field. They just haven't been able to guard anybody.
Have you looked at the rebound differential in this game? It's incredible. And remember, Puerto Rico's had more reasons to rebound. They've missed much more.
But they can't get to the glass. No one goes to the glass. Now, this might again be one of those things where Borkman can play, but there's certain things he's not doing. Sanchez, no one's asking him to be Borkman. Just step up a little. You know, just get a little.
And box out.
Yeah.
Put a body on someone.
No one's asking him to go and get 10 boards in a half. Just get 3 more than you used to. Go and get one that Borkman would have got.
You're listening
Sanchez
to the
is just floating around too much.
You're listening to the mellifluous and sonorous voice of Coach Mark Clark, former UK national team head coach. My name is Alvaro Martin. Second quarter action, Argentina, Puerto Rico. Herman picks up where he left off. Going to his right, comfortable.
Going to his right, they stepped off. They gave him an open look from the foul line. He's going to score.
Gutierrez now guarding Bachman. That's an interesting matchup. Scola shows. Barea launches. And it's good.
Well, you can't. Once they've decided to go under the screen, Argentina were well organized, but Herrera's really feeling it though. He's just got it. They've either got to hide him or find a way to get him to play more defense.
Gutierrez taking Ricky Sanchez out. He knows how that feels. He does that typically to other power forwards. Zafar coming off the curl, but he's a left-handed shooter. Prigioni against Sanchez. Fade away. Short. Rebounded by Huertas. Here comes Barea again. Puerto Rico's really trying to get their offense going earlier in the clock. They don't want to have Argentina set up in the half court. Oh, what a beautiful pass to Bachman, and he's fouled by Gutierrez. And that is something that Ronaldo Bachman did not do for Puerto Rico, or really any team, until he reached the national team, and Flor Melendez began to see that in him. This sort of vertical pass from the free throw line right down the lane.
The thing Argentina have to decide now is, are they going to defend this? Because no one, as Gutierrez showed hard on the screen, he got out and actually put a presence against Pereira. No one helped him. No one stepped underneath that ball screen to bump it and stop the direct roll to the basket. If that's what they decided to do, fine. If they're more worried about the perimeter options, fine. But at the moment, Borkman looks very effective down the middle.
As he makes his first free throw, he played for the Arecibo Captains, and part of the problem with Puerto Rico, ladies and gentlemen, their season starts in March. They typically get players coming from off other seasons in the middle of their own, and then they play till late July. Last year's championship, in which he played, was finished, Game 7, on July 29th. Then they get literally a day and a half, 2 days to fly back if they don't live on the island, collect their belongings, and then come back to play and prepare for a major international tournament. They're spent. They're injured. Shouldn't surprise anybody. They're their own worst enemies that way. Inside to Scola, and he's fouled.
Same, exactly the same decision, exactly the same scenario that Argentina faced, Puerto Rico faced then. Hard show. No one got underneath that ball screen to stop the roll. By the time Scola gets, he shouldn't get there. Someone should be there sooner to stop him getting that deep. Physically stop him getting that deep and make the perimeter pass happen.
You're watching number 6 as Scola takes his free throw on the screen. That's the young, small forward, Marcos Mata. He played in the Spanish League and Desa League this past season. He's now going to go to Franca in Brazil. And for basically the entire run, up until this game, he had been the starter. This time they started with Nocioni and Herman. He made that change very late in the process. As we look at Paco Olmos, young man, 42 years old. Here comes Barea. Oh. Calls the play. Bachman to set the pick and roll. A little horns action for Puerto Rico. Back to Ricky. 3-point denied. Off the knee of Bachman.
Well, Argentina building an answer to that screen because Scholar did stop the roll then, but as he closed out, he gave Sanchez the middle. And it's always a pick your poison moment. Where do you think you've got to protect? And Argentina did a much better job than forcing the extra pass. Inside
to Scola again, double team outside to Mata. He loses the ball, and it's out of bounds.
I tell you, the effort that Borkman's putting in with the injury. Now we don't know how sore, how painful, or how bad it is, but he's playing more defense than a lot of other guys there on the floor.
It's interesting. Very good observation. Other ones were able-bodied.
Yeah.
The other one that's actually playing good defense is the other one that's hurt. Huertas, number 12, on the bottom of your screen.
Now people have different roles. Prigioni knew he was going to, he had to get called for it. Got a little involved in with Barrera as Barrera tried to go back for the ball.
It was extended. Yeah. It was too long. That's his second foul. Interesting enough how the world changes. When Puerto Rico a couple of years ago went to Mar del Plata for the Olympic qualifier, they had Barea and Arroyo in the starting lineup, and the entire Argentine basketball continuum was saying, what are you doing? Well, what's Argentina doing? Campasso and Prigioni together in the backcourt. A foul by, a travel by Sanchez.
Coming back the other way. Key moments here for Argentina because they're into their rotations. They're starters, and all the experienced players do well. You asked the question before the game.
Another steal. Watch out for the dunk. Women and children first.
I tell you what, he is in pain. When he came out of that, he limped a little bit, then he just forgets it and gets on with it. But you asked the question of would these other players stepped up? This is the time to find out because they're going to have to go to the rotation, and at the moment, they're struggling.
Beautiful play by Campasso, but Gutierrez cannot finish. And there's a foul by A.D. Vasallo in his attempt to get the rebound.
There's only Scholar and Campazzo off the starting lineup in the game at the moment, and that's a wide open look. Yeah, you're not going to make every shot, but as we see the replay of the highlight, you're not going to make every shot, but they don't look. Wynn talks about this, how confident those guys to take that shot, to believe they're going to make that shot. This is the time they've got to do it.
Our directors were kind enough to look at the entire collection of dunks by Bachman so far in the game, 3 of them. What a way to handle the ball. And there's another foul by Puerto Rico. Ramon Clemente comes in the game and commits his first foul. Ramon Clemente is an undersized center. Look at the splint he has on that finger, his left pinky finger. Let's take a look.
Now Ramon Clemente is quick enough to stop Luis Scola getting to the basket if he wants to. He just went a little on the reach, didn't get down and try and force him out there. But Luis Scola's done that to players that are maybe quicker than him, bigger than him his whole career.
We're in the presence of one of the great FIBA players, maybe of all time, not just in Argentina. And one of the achievements that he has, which I think blows my mind, over 3 consecutive regional tournaments, America's tournaments, he was the MVP over 6 years. No one was better in those tournaments than Luis Scola. And you may say, well, the Americans weren't there. Still, I don't care. Show me any player who was an MVP for 6 years in 3 tournaments.
It says everything you need to say about him. And the point about the Americans not there is Barrera gets a little bit irate.
He gets a warning. And now Paco almost is being told as well. Interesting move by LaMonica. Not only does he warn the player, he really rubs it in and tells the coach. That's actually, it's almost like he's speaking to the player with his back turned towards him. He's sending a double message.
Yep.
Nice way of handling that, huh?
I think the message to the coach is, I don't want to do any more. If you can help me control him, we'll leave him. It'll be all right.
Safar, that is his shot.
That's what they need. They need those guys to just knock down open shots. They don't have to do great things, just good things.
When they won the championship with Peñarol and Ricky Sanchez played in that league, he should know that. Huertas, tough shot. He gets a foul by Safar.
Well, Huertas, if he is, let's see, Plantiatis is painful. He was quick then. He's played good defense. Take your hat off to him at the moment. He really is trying to bring everything he can for his country.
Every team, as we look at how they circulate the ball inside out, strong side to weak side, they understand options. They just read the game and anticipate and use the pass to make up for what their bodies can't do. And that is, if I had to summarize, part of the greatness of this Argentina team. Another bit of greatness, I think, which is hard to tell if you're not really inside, is something that some of these national teams, and you've talked to me about that, have, which is no matter what you were outside of the national team, when you come to the national team, you put that aside and you assume whatever role the team needs. And that's another quality of this team. Oh my goodness. Leo Gutierrez, wide open, he misses, won't happen often. He made 15 threes in one game in the Argentine League a couple years back. Vasallo, short. Clemente with a rebound.
Well, the early shot gives them so many more opportunities to get on the glass and create. They've really got to stay with that. Nice pass.
Over to Vasallo.
He's out of bounds.
He stepped out of bounds before the shots. That's Vasallo's mistake. And there's a little chippiness between Zafar and Huertas.
Argentina are getting through that rotation phase now as Nocioni comes back. As he comes back and they get a little deeper, Scola can go forever. He just has an amazing engine.
Nocioni against Clemente. Goes with a strong hand. He makes a tough shot. Clemente really made him take a very awkward shot. Here comes Barea. Halfway through the second quarter. And a foul on the way to the basket for Huertas. Puerto Rico down by 7.
Huertas is a handful on the dribble. He's got that explosiveness. He's got that quickness. And Zafar in that, so just got to give himself a little half a step just to make sure he can control that dribble.
Huertas is 27 years old as Alex Galindo comes in. Huertas played briefly. I'm sorry, Eddie Vasallo played briefly in the Uruguayan and Argentine League, but Huertas played in Turkey in 2010. He was called up at the last minute when Christian Dalmau and Larry Ayuso abandoned the team on the flight to their exhibition games in Europe before the tournament because of differences in their role with then head coach Manolo Cintrón. Huertas was one of 2 called at the last minute, barely played. He got some experience though. Part of the struggles of Puerto Rican basketball as well. He makes a second shot.
There is no substitute for players being in these tournaments. They're so unique, so unique.
Campazzo.
Argentina have an open option every time they run that pick and roll. They've just got to pick the right option.
Nice rotation by Galindo, but finally a foul. Paco almost can't believe it. La Monica called the foul.
Sanchez was caught on the dribble, I think. Well, he's got his hand on him, which doesn't help him. Wasn't a lot to call, but the disappointing thing for me there, Sanchez is forcing him to the baseline, which is great. But that means the help should be ready. The help should be coming a lot sooner. 1 foot in the keyway in that situation is 1 foot too many. Get across early and stop Scola getting deep. 7
points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. 8 points now from Luis Scola, and Argentina extends their lead to 7 points halfway through the second quarter. Nocioni guarding Clemente. Clemente not an offensive threat. He won't even do what Bachmann does. So they can play 5-on-4 defense. Argentina can. Here comes Ricky Sanchez. Misses his shot. Zafar with a rebound. Oh, Campazzo over to the corner. Nocioni wide open, decides to drive. To the other end, Zafar. No good. Touched by Sanchez, rescued by Sanchez, and off the hands of Marcos Mata.
Well, there's so many things. They missed the shot. But the movement out of the break for Argentina. And Nocioni unselfishly had the tough shot but gave it up to the corner. And Zafar, he knows. Zafar just made one from there. He knows he's ready to shoot that.
They're dictating in the half court. Huertas, hesitation, and a layup. Excellent play.
Impressive performance by Huertas in this first half.
And now Argentina calls a timeout as Puerto Rico pulls up by 5 with 4:19 to go in the first half. Mark, we talk about absences. Delfino's not here. Juan Gutierrez, a important center for this team, has a hip injury that may have to be operated upon. Puerto Rico's missing John Holland, who was a great small forward, shooting guard, great defender as well. He would have fit in right with what Paco wants. Also a decent shooter. But in some ways, beyond the fact that both teams are trying to avoid staying in the fourth spot, potentially, and playing Spain, there's a little bit of a sense that there could be a change of supremacy in the Americas outside of the U.S. And that's what they're fighting for here. Who's the top dog?
Well, there's always local battles. You always want to get that one over. You see each other playing each other in the league. A lot of these guys will play in Argentina, will play in the Liga Sudamericana. They'll play in those competitions. They want to have that conversation from a position of supremacy.
For many, many years, Puerto Rico would basically dominate the matchup. Argentina would win their tournaments and win their games, to the point where at one point Flor Melendez, who was replaced by Paco Olmos, actually was the national team coach for Argentina. But those days are over. There's something called the Argentine consensus. Well, after Leon Nasnudo founded the league and Guillermo Vecchio started with his team and Horacio Seguí, there was a sense that there was a type of play where Argentines would thrive. As Nocioni misses a shot and Bachmann's back in with a rebound. And they've stuck to that. Coach in, coach out, lower categories, the senior men's national team, and it's worked for them. They really have a system that fits and suits their needs and their personnel. Barea, wide open shot, no good. As Nocioni and Bachmann tangle. Mata, inside to Scola. Clemente is giving up inches. Nice fake. Tough shot for Scola. And the rebound falls right on his hands, and he cannot make the shot.
Yeah, if there is a floor, if that's the right way to word it, as Barrera doesn't knock down the three.
Remember how on fire he was? Here comes Tafar. No,
Nice
it's good.
finish.
Galindo came in late, but couldn't block that shot.
I was going to say that the defensive series that led to the Nocioni deep three from the corner was better for Puerto Rico because everything was in front of them. They didn't give up the penetration. If they can maintain that, and if all they get is a Nocioni three under pressure, they're going to close this gap.
Inside to Bachmann, he has no room. Meanwhile, Walter Herman rests on the Argentine bench. Mata with a three. It is good. A shot of confidence for that young man.
You love the confidence, as you say. In transition, he had rebounders. It's a great option. They were outnumbering Puerto Rico on the glass. He had every right to take it, and he knocked it down, and they're back out into a 9-point lead. Feet set, no hand in the face, and if you get a shot, you won't see it on the shot, but there were two black vests under there with one defender, and one of those was Scola being boxed out. They had everybody like at a chance, wide open. You love it when teams take that shot.
I was mentioning that Herman was on the bench. I thought, well, when's Herman coming back in for Mata? Maybe he sensed that and said, hey, this is my shot. Gotta take that shot. It was exactly what the offense called
It's
for.
an interesting conversation to have about someone at 35 years old. They might want to be in out. He played for 10 minutes or so at the start of the game. Now maybe he's gonna play the next 10 in the third quarter or whatever it is. He's gonna play them in long bunches.
The man to the right of Julio Lamas is Nicolás Casalanguida. One of his two top assistants. Casalanguida coached the team and went to the finals against Peñarol and lost the finals. He's seen as a promising young coach. When the development team for Argentina went to play a number of tournaments before this one, Casalanguida was the lead head coach.
He did a great job in that Liga Sudamericana. They were fun to watch. His team played really well organized defense, and he looked the part. He had the presence of a head coach, and if the process of succession is going to happen, he would be an ideal head coach.
He and longtime Argentine assistant Gonzalo Garcia told me before the game that they slept just under 2 hours. Remember, Argentina plays the first game tomorrow against Croatia. Not easy. Essentially, they're going to go back, rest, relax, have dinner, have a little chat, and then get ready for the game tomorrow, because that's going to be it. No practice.
Again, another good defensive play by Scola, who just took away the options that Huertas was looking for.
Hesitation by Campasso. Inside out to Mata. He decides to drive. and he can't lay it in. The ball goes off the hands of Luis Scola.
I like the decision though. He got chased down on the three-point line. He put it on the floor hard. He exploited the long closeout. Teams will work so hard to get those closeouts. They're really hard on the defense.
This is the struggle when they hand off generationally. Galindo. It is good. Coming off the curl.
That was quick. That was early recognition of what he had. Didn't think, shot it, made it look good.
He is from Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. He has never played outside of the island, though, and he's good enough to do so. Here comes Nocioni again, wide open three. Rebounded by, of course, Barea. Great rebounder for his size. Again, Galindo, but it's no good this time. Campazzo, looking for some early offense for Argentina. Safar is all on the other side. No good. Here comes Barea. It's a horse race. And somebody's trampled along the way. I think
Nocioni fouled to stop the break.
Gave Barea a little taste.
I think Bray is just taking a rest on the floor. I hope that's nothing more than that.
Well, he maybe took a shot to the ribs. A little taste of honey.
Nocioni's a little lucky. It was good that his teammates worked hard to just get beyond him there in terms of it being an unsportsmanlike situation.
For the last 2 seasons, the Santurce Cangrejeros that Paco Olmos has led have ended up with identical 20-16 records in the Superior National Basketball League in Puerto Rico. Again, it's an interesting league in terms of its timing. Only 8 teams. Remember, Puerto Rico is one of 5 countries where basketball is the undisputed #1 sport in the world. It's a 4-point game with 1:20 left, and perhaps Puerto Rico's thinking we may have weathered the storm so far. Safar, he traveled. No,
they'll call the foul.
There's a foul. Safar has spent a lot of time on the floor today.
And he's been very active, both ends of the floor. Nice curl on that screen. His first step was good. He just left Arroyo, and the help was late again.
He is extremely confident, especially on offense. What everybody expects him to be, if he wants to be a complete player and really get more of a role with his team, is exactly what you mentioned, the effort on defense.
And he's a great free throw shooter. He's 80+% across his across the various years he's had.
Next year, he's going to join Julio Lamas in Obras Sanitarias, and Julio Lamas is collecting some of that young talent to take him to his league team in Argentina so he can develop him further, which is a very smart move by him and by Argentine basketball. He took about a 2-year hiatus from coaching in the National League. Arroyo, short. Arroyo not quite in rhythm today. He's 1 of 5.
He just looks a little heavy. He looked a little slow coming out. He had separation. He had the space.
Pick and pop. This time, the registered trademark doesn't work.
Yeah, he did start well, Luis Scola, but he's not quite Luis Scola at the moment. Great work.
Tremendous putback by Ramon Clemente. Oh my goodness, he had to leap over 2 Argentines, carrying them over. Another shove. No call this time. Left-hand drive by Nocioni. Inside to Campazzo. Outside to Safar. What a play.
That's heads up by Campazzo. Felt the block coming. If it had gone up, it'd have been like blocked. Just gave it to Safar, his spot on the floor. 7 points again.
Cross-court pass. Clemente, a rare shot by him. I guess he felt it after that last play. And that's the end of the first half. Argentina will go to the locker room with a 7-point lead, 45-38. 10 points for Jose Juan Barea. 12 points for Salem Safar off the bench. Andres Nocioni with 10 points. Argentina overall 47% shooting, Puerto Rico 38%.
Well, here are the statistics there, and it's a little closer. Argentina was so hot in that first quarter, down at 57% now. They're not very hot from the three-point line, and Nocioni's had a lot of looks and hasn't stopped taking them. They still have that rebound edge, and the turnovers have now evened themselves out. So the whole game's what we expected it to be. At times, a little bit of a shootout, But Puerto Rico, if they're going to get back in this, have to start playing defense consistently. Borkman's been a revelation for me. He's hurt, 8 points. Barrero's always going to score. No surprises, apart from Safar's contribution in terms of points for Argentina. Nocioni on the glass doing what he does. Just works hard. Clemente off the bench, 5 boards. That's a big effort for him. Barrera, points and assists, getting it done.
Mark, I know it's game 1, but are you sensing the passing of the baton between, say, a Prigioni and a Facu Campazzo?
Oh, I think that's definitely there. I think Prigione's minutes a little bit limited because of the second foul, but the fact that they don't miss a beat with Campazzo coming in means that they've got that much confidence in him, and you don't see any looking over the shoulder from the big guys.
I tell you,
they're comfortable with it.
Here's Nocioni with an open shot, but you have to admire Ronaldo Balkman telling the staff, let's see what we have. Let's not rest me. Let's not treat me with any sort of care. Let's see what I have. He's leaving what he has right now in the first half. You don't know when he may be able to have to leave the court for the tournament.
Yeah,
potentially.
It may be game 1, it may be game 5. Let's hope for Puerto Rico it's game 5. But there's a couple of people on that Puerto Rican team, as we see the little floater that really was one of the things that sparked him. Barrera came off the bench and did score. But for me, Huertas and Borkman's effort defensively was almost like the key. Then Clemente picked it up, and they just began to play a little harder, made it a little harder for Argentina, because we know that this team's going to score. This happened early in the game because Herman was in and he didn't play much in the second quarter. But for me, it's those guys. Pereira's going to score. But it's those guys that stepped up and said, we're going to play harder. We've got to do something more than this. We've got to come up with steals. We've got to get stops. And they've got themselves back in the game. At one point, it looked like it was going to be a 15, 16-point margin at the half. It's only 7. They've just got to sort out a couple of little creases in their defense, and they'll be fine. Safar's 2 threes from that spot, half his point from the 3-point line. I love the way he took it to the basket strong, too.
And he's played a physical game. He sees Huertas, however, roll by him.
Yeah, Huertas,
score.
We were talking about his injury. That wasn't on the scout report to say he's injured. See, what does he do? He uses his quickness and just goes through the paint. And this is the coast-to-coast, taking it up, avoids the charge, over the block. But look how many numbers Argentina had down the floor.
And here's Marcos Matas pointing.
Middle's wide open for rebounds if he misses again. Argentina getting numbers and balance down the floor.
By the way, that was a 2 by Mata, not a 3. As he had his foot on the line.
Toe the line. You can't really give him that hard a time for it, but you hate that as a coach. You hate him toeing the line. You love the shot.
Argentines must be happy with the score so far, but also the way this team has played, the way they execute. Puerto Rico, you're right. I think in the end, Puerto Rico has to worry much more about what's happening on the defensive end, or not happening on the defensive end.
And we saw the practice yesterday with Argentina. We were a little bit, I was a little bit surprised that they scrimmaged a lot. They played a lot of 5-on-5 in the practice. And that's just about getting their rhythm back. And we're going to get a chance to look at the leading players of the half.
10 points, 3 assists coming off the bench. The bench from Puerto Rico has scored 16 points, 10 from Jose Juan Barea.
Just want him to play, you don't want him to be, you can't ask someone to be a leading scorer and best defender. He's just got to play a little bit more defense because that's hurting the team. Campazzo in particular is making great decisions. He's under not enough pressure. Either hide him, give him another matchup, or ask him to play a little bit more defense in the second half.
And what about Carlos Arroyo?
Well, he's been a bit absent, hasn't he, to be quite honest, and you can't hide both of them, because we talked earlier on about taking Arroyo away from the point guard. Arroyo they haven't got into Arroyo's flow of the game in terms of him being able to create in broken play very much, and he's only had the one pull-up jump shot that he's made. But,
well, I'm not a total believer in this stat of plus-minus, but Barea has a +1 and Arroyo has a -11.
Yeah, well, he was in at the start when Argentina were hot, and they were hot because of this guy. It didn't matter what the situation was. If he was left alone, he was going to score, and that was the first play of the game. He's got a little cold from the perimeter. That won't worry him. He's going to pick his numbers up, and he earns the right to take shots because he just works his backside off on defense.
They'll have in Real Madrid ostensibly to take up some of the minutes left over by Nikola Mirotic, who's going on to the Chicago Bulls.
Well, I think they get a much more physical presence at that like big forward spot. And with the other players that Madrid have recruited, well, they've been EuroLeague finalists for the last 2 years. It could be a year to win a championship.
Meanwhile, as you see how Campazzo breaks down the defense, it almost surprises you that he only has 4 assists. But a lot of Argentine basketball is make the first pass, and if there's a better shot, make the extra pass. And
Absolutely.
that's why he doesn't have as many assists.
Yep, absolutely.
We will be back with you in about 10 minutes with the start of the third quarter. Catch all the action on live basketball TV, not just FIBA games, of course. You can see games from other leagues from around the world on broadband, at home, on tablets, on your phone. Basketball the way you want it. And now we have a few minutes before we enter the second half. Alongside Coach Mark Clark, I'm Alvaro Martin. We are at the Palacio Municipal de Sevilla in Andalucía, in southern Spain. This is Group B. And both teams, and we've heard this the last 48 hours, Mark, assume that they're going to win somehow over the Philippines and Senegal. We don't subscribe to that view. We'd like to see the game first, but they think that way. Therefore, knowing that in their minds, Croatia and Greece are going to be very tough foes, all they want to do is make sure they don't end up fourth. And in their minds, the team that would be that candidate would be each other. That makes this game, really, that's what drives this game. That's what's at stake in the minds of these coaches. The tournament may take a different turn, but that's what they think about this game, and that's why this game is so important to both.
Well, the other thing I would add is that, you know, the way that Argentina, well, both teams have played at times, in particular Argentina in that first half. They could be anywhere from one. This group is so tight. They could be anywhere from 1 to 4. It could come down to a points different calculation when we get into the decisive classification of who finishes where. So it's anything, this group. It's an important game for, you've highlighted, South American supremacy, American supremacy. Important because they want to get to the next round. It's important because both teams may have aspirations to win the group even, but they don't want to be fourth. Absolutely right. I would hope that you saw both huddles there. Puerto Rico have to make some adjustments defensively. Have to make a decision about where do they want the ball to go. If Argentina are going to beat them, where are they going? They've got to decide where Argentina have to beat them. At the moment, Argentina are getting down the middle of their defense and getting open looks. They've got to make that decision. And the other end of it is Barrera and Arroyo combined 4 from 13. Now that's, they're your superstars. 4 from 13 doesn't get it done. Statistically, they're not going to go 4 from 13 in the second half. But it'll be for no good at all unless they play defense.
You look at Walter Herman right now. What amazes me is not that he scored. He's a great athlete. What amazes me is that he's essentially on just about every occasion scored with a strong hand.
Yeah.
He was never denied his right side.
And that's it. You've got to make the decision as the defensive team. If Walter Herman's going to beat me to the basket, he's got to get there. And if it's about him going right and you have some other rules, well, then make him catch it on the other side of the floor. Do things that make it hard for that offensive team. And just for the record before we start, Luis Scola, 20 minutes. He'll go for 40 if he needs to. He'll go for 100 if he needs to.
Ronaldo Balkman with that bulky Achilles tendon, has played 17 minutes. He's back out against Nocioni as Ricky Sanchez stops, pops, and scores. Scola was looking at what may have been a foul.
Well, if it's not a foul, it's a flop. One way or the other, the official needs to at least have a conversation with Luis Scola.
Franklin
That's
now
a hold,
with a quick foul again. That's the way he started the first half. Took a couple of very quick fouls. Franklin's a great defender. He played for Mayagüez, won the championship in 2012. He, Galindo, and Huertas were in that team and won the championship. To everybody's surprise, as Scola pops it away. Argentina now up by 7.
Again, though, in the Franklin foul, the pass was made to the side. He didn't adjust, so he was on the wrong side. Therefore, he's at a disadvantage, and he had to foul.
Here comes Arroyo. Shoots and scores over Nocioni.
Well, he's not going to go 1 from 5, you hope. If you're a Puerto Rican fan, you don't want 1 from 5 from Carlos Arroyo.
Comes the screen. He tries to fight against it. Scola escapes. And there's goaltending by Franklin. He touched the rim or the net from underneath the basket. He gives Scola another couple of points.
That wasn't going in. It was bouncing off the ring.
Scola with 12. Long range shot by Ricky Sanchez. No good. Tipped over by Nocioni to Herman.
Is that Ricky? We saying at halftime, Ricky Sanchez has got to give this team more. I don't see that necessarily being one shot, one pass from the 3-point line.
Safar opening up the second half, and he shoots and scores.
Well, I'll give the assist to the coach for the decision. That's a heady decision, a confident decision, and that must make Safar feel very happy.
Buckman just can't finish. He had everything going for him until the end. You know, when you see the generational transition in Argentina, an old football coach in the U.S. used to say that if you have a puppy, you want it to bite, not just to bark. As we see Prigioni make a three. Well, I think Salem Safar and Facu Campazo are biting.
That's absolutely correct. Going back to the last play, though, Carlos Arroyo, you're down in the game. You can't trade baskets. You've got to play defense. Great move to the hoop by Bolton.
Tremendously strong move against Nocioni, who complains about being elbowed by Bachmann. Sanchez guarding Nocioni in the perimeter. Safar going to his strong hand again. Stops, shoots with his right hand, and it's no good. Huertas with the rebound.
They let him get so deep again, though. They let him turn the corner. They stayed with it, to be fair, but
well, what a play by Huertas, but he traveled. They took an extra step.
That was the only way he was going to get around Andres Nocioni with the extra step.
Move the ball. Basin, move the ball, pass the ball is what Paco almost.
Well, that's the one thing they haven't done throughout this whole early minutes of the third quarter. I don't think they've made more than 2-3 passes maximum in the half court.
Salem Safar with an offensive foul, a little tangle with Bachmann. So Argentina with a turnover. 11-point Argentina advantage as it's Safar's third foul. Not too many steals so far in the third quarter. Not too many fast break opportunities for Puerto Rico. Arroyo. Sanchez to the corner. Here comes Franklin. What a contortion to make the basket.
But it's exactly as Coach Lamos wanted. He wanted the ball moved. They moved 3 or 4 passes, 5 passes in that offense. Created a long closeout, and Franklin exploited it.
But it's not natural to them. They have to be reminded of it. Herman guarded by Arroyo. That's a matchup, and a foul by Bachmann on Scola. Trying to go for the ball, go for the steal. It's a foul.
It just makes such a big target. There's the extra pass. Because Scola's on a closeout, the defense doesn't always adjust. There's always a line to attack, and they did that really well.
12 seconds on the shot clock. Prigioni inside out. Nocioni. Chest. It's a three.
Well, it's a bit of deja vu. He started the game by knocking down shots and getting the points ticking over. He's done it again at the start of the...
Arroyo, no good. Rebounded by Nocioni. Was there a pass in that possession?
Nope. One player had it, one player touched it, one player shot it.
How quickly they forget. Here comes Scola, and he really pried a foul out of Sanchez. He noticed his arm, and he took his shot around Ricky Sanchez's arm to get the foul.
And the thing about Luis Scola, throughout his career, he's done this type of thing, getting in position, using his body so well. You have to play him before he gets it, because you can play him harder then. You can get in front, you can move him off the block. Once Ricky Sanchez lets him get it there, it's a score or a foul. Try and bump him off the block. Try and get him like 2 steps further away than he wants to be. He still might be, he's got more distance to make the move. There's more chance to help. Sanchez just played him soft until he caught it. And this is dangerous here for Puerto Rico. It could get out of hand. If it carries on like this, they need a timeout.
13-point Argentina lead, 6:10 to go in the third. Sanchez has a shot. Can't make it. Another rebound for Nocioni.
At the moment, he's a bit of a rebound magnet.
He's got 11. He's got a double-double with 13 points to go along with 11 boards. Drives after the fake. Deflected by Bachmann. It's Argentina's ball with only 6 seconds to shoot.
They have a good feel about it. Nocioni had a shot then, but he wanted to share it. He wanted to try and get even a higher percentage shot than that. There's a good feel about this Argentinian lineup at the moment.
Launches a three with 4 seconds to go, and a huge rebound by Franklin.
This is where you want to see Arroyo play. You want to see him create now.
Around the perimeter, Huertas. Dribbles, drives, and he's hacked by Nocioni. And again, when you meet Nocioni down the basket, this is what happens to you.
He takes a lot of pride in not giving anybody anything easy. Now he went straight up. It's obviously his foul. It wasn't like he came down. It's just like running into a brick wall.
This is not mixed martial arts. This is basketball at its highest level.
And both of Nocioni's fouls have been worthwhile fouls, should we say.
Keeps his pivot foot. Arroyo improvises. Franklin can't shoot. There was Nocioni again. Here comes Herman. Herman back to Safar. Over to Nocioni. Nice closeout. Touch pass over to Safar, all alone, no good. Rebounded by Franklin. Puerto Rico tries to move.
And to be fair to Arroyo and Treshers, no one got ahead of him though. No one gave him an option. It's a team that, with one or two exceptions, is not really leaving it out there at the moment.
Huertas, turn around, tough shot, it's good. No, he traveled again before the shot.
But again, it's all one-on-one. It's all off the dribble. And you have to make an announcement here. Luis Scola is sitting down.
Yes, indeed. First break, as he took that extra cha-cha step, Huertas did. First break for Scola.
Well, Marcos Delia has to play now, doesn't he? Has to contribute.
He's one of the puppies. He's one of the futures. Future inside guy, future big for Argentina. Very young guy. He's also going to be playing in the Argentine League next year. Huertas, he has a shot. Over to Ricky. Sanchez, turnaround against Delia. Misses. Rebounded by Herman. They're going to be attacking Delia if they can.
But to be fair to him, he challenged the shot. You know, he didn't back down, and he got a lot of help.
Herman fakes the three, and he drives, and he gets popped in the foul. No good, says LaMonica. The foul was before the shot. No continuation. 4 minutes to go, 13-point Argentine lead. And now Huertas will take a seat, and Barea will come in alongside Carlos Arroyo.
Well, and they've left it a long time before they brought him in. 6 minutes into this period. It's not as if they were doing well during that period. You know, Argentina are outscoring them 14-8 so far. You'd like to see Herrera Brera give it up early, and then if they get it back, they're going to get it back in broken play. They're going to get it up with an advantage.
Oh, what a shot by Nocioni. Out of control. I don't know how he found that little crease to put the ball through.
Well,
Great defense by Puerto Rico.
If we get a replay, take a look at the referee. It's like, I just made the toughest shot. I was definitely fouled, but like, you've got to give me some help.
Arroyo behind the back, he loses the ball, and he fouls Arroyo. They're signaling that Barea was way ahead, and that shouldn't be an unsportsmanlike.
Well, Roy is saying that Barea was back, but he wasn't. It was just a loose.
No, he was. Barea was actually quite far away.
He grabbed the short, pulled the vest. Not a basketball action, bit of a cheap one.
And there's a timeout. Argentina up by 15, in control in the third quarter. States fails to win this tournament, they will have to go to the 2015 FIBA Americas Championships in Monterrey, Mexico, to try to make it to the 2016 Rio Olympics. So there's something at stake certainly in this tournament, and that will be a tremendous tournament where Mexico is going to field a great team, and Canada should begin to field a team that's very competitive.
There's a lot of teams now that are on the rise, and that's why it's going to be real hard for Argentina, because they're going through their transition now. Now, who will still be left playing, who knows?
Even Argentina will feel the heat from a country like Venezuela, who won the South American Championship now against what's known as the development team of Argentina. But the important development here is that the Venezuelan coach is an Argentine. And again, he's making them play a certain way that becomes more effective in these tournaments, as Campazzo misses the first shot.
Well, Campazzo is normally a decent free throw shooter.
What is he going to do as a third point guard for Real Madrid?
Well, if you ask Campazzo, I'd hope he would say, I'm not the third point guard. I think there's a rotation at Real Madrid that sees him and Rodriguez at the point with Sergei Llull running the two. They've gone with a small lineup quite often. There's so many games with the EuroLeague and the ACB that he's good enough to get time.
He really, at that point, was the MVP of the finals. Nice pass to D'Elia, but he wasn't ready. D'Elia loses the ball, back in the hands of Campazzo. Over to Herman for the three. Offline. Another rebound by Campazzo. Is he ready for Real Madrid or what?
I think you asked the question exactly the right time. Everyone knows he's a guard that can play. He just helps you in so many ways. He's hard-nosed now.
Dani Santiago on the court. Outside of Nocioni. It's good.
And Nocioni milking it, loving it. Again, though, the closeout. Create the closeout, make the pass.
19-point lead. Foul down low, I believe it's Santiago. No, it's Nocioni. No, it's D'Elia.
That's D'Elia guarding Daniel Santiago. Again, they draw the defense and give Nocioni time, and they share the ball. He didn't have to move for the pass. His feet were set, knocked it down. I'm surprised Daniel Santiago hadn't seen action before now. Yeah, he may be the veteran, but you know he'll play with some passion and really will try and get things done.
Again, they feel that they have a matchup that they can exploit as D'Elia fouls Santiago. Interesting, though, they're using Santiago not to spell Bachmann.
Yeah. I can't, at the moment, can't see how they can take Bachmann out.
Well, the way Ricky Sanchez is playing,
yeah, that's
take him
why.
out.
Yeah.
Take him out.
Yeah.
They see if Santiago can take advantage of this matchup. Now, if D'Elia were on the court, that may be a different story. Long shot by Vasallo, and it's no good.
Don't understand the decision. Then Santiago with D'Elia, who's going to foul him as soon as he caught it in the block. Taking the three. Don't understand it.
Campazzo asking D'Elia to screen him over and over again. A slap, but Bachmann comes up with the ball. Barea upset at all the contact. He's mad. He drives, and he can't make the shot. Here comes Safar. D'Elia scores!
Ran the floor harder than everyone else.
I tell you, he's going to have to buy Campazzo at least one beer tonight.
Yeah, at least one.
No matter what happens in this game. Arroyo, tough shot. There's Santiago, he can't keep the ball. Here comes Safar. Behind to D'Elia, and a foul by Bachmann. Good play by D'Elia. He puts Bachmann now, makes him commit another foul. That is his fourth personal foul.
There's a lot of palms up, looking around at each other from this Puerto Rican lineup at the moment. Because at the moment, it's one shot and out. Sanchez is coming in for Bachmann. And at the end of the day, yeah, the one shot and out stuff is not great, but they're not getting back. They're not actually forcing Argentina to do anything in the half court at the moment.
D'Elia is 22 years old. He's going to play for Julio Lamas' team next year. He shot 56% from the free throw line, and he's short on this one.
He looks like a 50% free throw shooter at the moment.
There's Bachmann giving Puerto Rico everything he has. 19 minutes, 8 points, almost 5 rebounds. Interestingly enough, D'Elia averaged almost 1 assist in 19 minutes of play.
Really?
Which for a big man is not bad.
It's a very good attribute as a big man to have. And the way things are looking at the moment, the Argentinian lineups, apart from the guys who want to play, as in Nocioni always wants to play.
That's a double dribble, double dribble. Now, I have to say, this is where I'm having a flashback to the exhibition game Puerto Rico played against the U.S. in the Madison Square Garden. They played them tight in the first half. The second half, things opened up, and all of a sudden, the old Caribbean instincts of one-on-one basketball, of I will stop this sort of play, as we see Campasso commit an offensive foul.
Delia's screen was the offensive foul.
Yep.
And
the old instincts kick in, and they can't help it. They stop playing the way they had success before. And that's exactly what Paco almost has tried in the coaching staff to get this group to get away from. It's a foul by Sioni. Oh, man. He hit him in the plexus. And Arroyo right now is out of breath. Sioni doesn't.
Someone's got to go and help him up for his team, surely. Nocioni knew what he was doing throughout that action, but
went over to give him a little tap.
I have no idea, and you don't want to get into this stuff, but like they left Arroyo on the floor for a long time. Nocioni's going to sit down. Gutierrez is coming in, and Andreas Nocioni, he looks in shape. He is in shape. He's sharp, and he's Andreas Nocioni of old.
Double-double with 3 personal fouls. Carlos Arroyo, we mentioned what a great free throw shooter he is.
Yeah.
For a couple of seasons in the NBA, in clutch situations, he was among the top 5 free throw shooters in the NBA. He's also been that for Puerto Rico. 85% in the TBL, 86% in the EuroLeague, and we just jinxed him.
And we just definitely jinxed him.
Now it's a 20-point lead, less than 1 minute to go. Leo Gutierrez back in the game. Now, I don't care what league you play for. 15 three-pointers in one game.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Wow.
And I mean made three-pointers.
Yeah. I always say at the end of the day, it's a three-point shot is a three-point shot. You've got to make it in whatever league you're in. We've had guys make 13 and 14 threes in one-off games and stuff. And they've had to work to make them. By the time he made 3 or 4, someone would have tried to stop him.
Carlos Rivera, making his debut with the national team, is in the game right now for Arroyo, as Vasallo gets a little closer to the basket and makes the bucket. Last 15 seconds of this quarter, which has been a horrific quarter. 22-11 is the score for this quarter in favor of Argentina. Inside to Delia, a floater by the big man. A putback on time!
I tell you, Campazzo just schooled people again. Use of the screen was phenomenal. Great dive by Delia. This is great though. The big boy stayed with it.
Make that 2-kill miss tonight. That Delia owes Facu Campazzo, who's now beginning to pile up the assists. He's got 6, the same amount as Paolo Prigioni.
This Puerto Rican huddle, they can score points in a hurry, so this isn't done by any stretch of the imagination. But that guy there, we should have seen a lot more of. That gets to the basket. If he can do it once, he should be doing it a lot more. And he really hasn't tried to sort of take up any of the slack. And that's disappointing for Puerto Rico. It's an opportunity for him on the world stage, at the World Cup. And he's really settled for little bit parts, really. The key, though, for me, again, has been the lack of almost an intent to play defense. And then there's been compounded by, I'm going to make it up on my own, guy going one-on-one.
Puerto Rico, of 17 World Cups, has appeared in 15 of them. They missed the 1982 Cup. They missed the 1971 Cup. And for them, it's a chance to begin to play a different brand of basketball. But they're playing right now against the model, and the model is winning. And again, it's interesting how you and I were talking for this past week about how do you get the youngsters involved. We had never thought that maybe the youngsters were going to get the youngsters involved.
Well, that's it. Yeah, and nothing, we were worried about them coming in because they come off of that Spanish game. In some ways, the coaching staff must have done a hell of a job just saying that's preparation. Now it starts, we're ready to play, because they've come out here and the youngsters have made major contribution. Scola's back.
And so is Mata and Prigioni. Prigioni alone in the corner. Gutierrez It's good. That's what he does. That's what he does. Jorge Brian Diaz, who's going to be playing in the Argentine League next year, better learn that if he faces Leo Gutierrez next year, he'll be playing Leo.
Well, there's a scouting report that says Leon Gutierrez shoots the three.
He made 15 in the game.
That's what he does. He's good at other things, but that's what he does. And he's not just open. He's out there on his own.
He's one of the 5 members of his team that are integral parts of the golden generation in Argentina. Sanchez looking to pass. Over to Carlos Rivera. It's good. Carlos Rivera is 31 years old. Emerged this year as the point guard of the champion Ponce Lions in the local Puerto Rican League and finally got his chance. Can you imagine he and Barea were both in the same high school in Miami at the same time? Rivera had to be the shooting guard. In and out. Oh, Mata almost took that rebound over Barea and he fouls him. I'm not sure why Argentine fans are complaining about this one.
Well,
he climbed all over Barea.
Mata could have actually got this rebound if he'd have been a little bit more cuter about it, perhaps. He definitely fouled. But like Barea didn't box him out, didn't know he was even there. And Mata just ran into him. He could have easily worked his way around and kept that one alive.
20-point game. Sanchez almost lost track of that ball. Here comes Jorge Brian Diaz. Vasallo. Drives inside.
I
foul by Scola.
Obvious question again. Where is that? That was definite. He made a nice, strong move. Here, he's just going to go. He's going to go. He's not happy about getting hit, but he went. And even then, at the end, he's still looking to kick it off.
Question for you.
He went a bit quicker, drew a bit of contact.
Bachman with 4 fouls. Santiago gave you his minutes. Now they don't have a choice but to put Jorge Brian Diaz, who had a tremendous second half in that warm-up game against Argentina a couple of weeks ago, which is why he's made the team. Barea, he's fouled by Prigioni for the shot. So let's see what this youngster, Diaz, who came into this game with a groin pull as well. I mean, all the bigs in Puerto Rico with some sort of problem, as Paco Olmos is not enjoying this afternoon in Sevilla.
No.
Diaz with a nice strong move, nice strong screen. Here comes Rivera inside to Ryan Diaz. No good. Rebounded, put back, no good by Diaz. Here comes Rivera with another rebound. Barea, hesitation. Rivera, 15 seconds to shoot. Goes left. Too strong. Scola with a rebound. That is his 6th. Opa, a little foul. Funny how they hug after the violence. Just because everybody's watching.
But that's not what Barrera needs to do right now to try and help his team. Why?
What was that for?
He should be lead. He should become their leader now.
Little matchup zone here.
Well, it's a little weird in the way that they're running. They match up and then they really stay with it. It's more man to man than.
What a beautiful bounce pass.
And that's why it's not that pure matchup. They just stirred around once they picked him up and all looked at the ball.
This lineup has not played together much for Puerto Rico. Missed by Barea, rebounded by Scola. This could make things worse.
Yeah, and no one else touched it again. If either Arroyo or Barrera would just lighten it up, you could live with it. And you say, "Hey, go and rebound it." But they're not lighting it up yet. But they're still coming down the floor. No passes. And
watch out for the back doors. A little shove between Mata and Barea. Zafar all alone from the left side. That's what happens. That's exactly what happened. Another 3. Salem Zafar now has 18 to lead Argentina along Andres Nocioni.
Well, there's 2 things here for Puerto Rico. Yeah, they'd love to get back in the game, but they don't need to have a 25-plus point loss here.
Vasallo with the putback against Mata.
That is not going to help their cause when it comes to any classifications, any ties. It almost rules out them in a tie, this big a loss. They've got to play hard here for the rest of the game.
No good.
And that's
offensive
not playing
rebound
hard.
by Scola and a foul by Puerto Rico. Scola grimacing with pain, holding up his left knee.
Sanchez just didn't work on the glass. You're going to see this now. He's not working to box out. Scola's the guy working 1-on-2. gets it.
Scola hurt his knee on the landing.
I think it looks like a bang, does it?
No, more like
more
a
twist.
twist. Here comes, well, I guess so much for that twist. I think Puerto Rico's hurting right now as they're down by 25, 6.5 to go.
Well, what does this performance do for the confidence of Argentina? Tournament play is such a thing about confidence and momentum.
They must be thinking also, as we see Vasallo aim, not go for the backboard. Sanchez takes a step back, no good, rebounded by Scola. They must be thinking that Croatia had a very tough day today. Maybe Croatia's going to be tired.
Well, Sanchez again takes the three, doesn't even go after it to rebound.
Scola. Oh, that was a foul by Vasallo, and Scola didn't like the attitude or the hardness of a foul.
See, I think, and Scola's absolutely right to feel aggrieved because there was no attempt to play defense and it wasn't a hard foul. He just got hacked. So he's posted up and he just gets hacked. There's no attempt to do anything else apart from hacking.
There's a timeout. Puerto Rico down 25, a little bit under 6 minutes to go. Argentina in control. I'm sorry, says Scola at the end.
Yeah. It's good officiating though. One referee made the call, the other one dealt with the communication. Everything was under control, no real, nothing got out of hand. And all the issues are with Puerto Rico. It's not done yet because there's still 6 minutes to go in the game, but it's for Argentina, they just have to carry on doing what they're doing. They can look at managing the minutes of players. And over a long tournament, if you can like save some legs now, it's going to be a huge factor.
Puerto Rico will be facing Senegal next tomorrow. Argentina will face Croatia. And Senegal is another one of those teams who watch play tonight in the next game. Right after this one, about a half hour after the end of this one, they'll be playing Greece. That's going to be another interesting clash of styles. And
without actually seeing the form that Senegal are in, we've looked at their preparation games, etc. If you're on a down, if you're coming into a game mentally low, as Puerto Rico may do, you don't want to be playing an athletic team that want to jump all over you. And it could be another long day at the office unless Puerto Rico can use these last 6 minutes, one, to try and get back in the game, but two, to find a way to get something going as a group.
Meanwhile, Argentina, with its deep knowledge of international tournament play, will not lift the foot off the accelerator. They will try to get as big a lead as they can. They just don't know what's going to happen up front. Here comes Galindo against Mata. He's fouled. He'll go to the line.
And that won't be close. That was we miss a free throw, we give a layup up. That's just not concentrating. At least the foul prevented the two.
Yep. As I mentioned, Galindo's another player from Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. He ended up being recruited by Kansas University, one of the top college basketball programs there. But of course, he did not stick around. He transferred to Florida International after not playing for a full year. He played with Cadet in Uruguay's Lube, Venezuela, and then he played for Libertad de Sunchales in that league, and he earned the respect of the Argentines, but since then he has not played abroad. A technical against Barea.
And I'm 100% with it. He can smile, etc.
We're not sure if he said something or it's just a matter of the flop.
It's the
faking.
flop, the dramatics,
That's exactly what the Seabull is telling him. Rigoni makes both and a possession. Very costly mistake. Again, 2 shots to a great free throw shooter and a possession. You know, it's a game of athleticism, no doubt, but it's also a game of thinkers.
Barrera's going to foul him again.
I wonder if Barrera's had enough of the game. Oh, what a fake. Oh, what a shot by Prigioni. A little razzle-dazzle. A little Rajon Rondo to his game.
And you have to...
Epa, another exchange now, and this has been brewing for the entire game. Safar and Barea. And Julio Lamas is asking Scola, just keep him away. Safar will not shy from a fight. Oh, no.
it's a foul. And I don't think Safar should be give himself a hard time about anything that happens right now. He's the one almost that he's the one that almost walks away. Galindo gets in.
I'm not sure the concern from Argentina was the physicality of Safar. I think they were concerned about his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Correa right now with 11 points leads Puerto Rico. He's got 12. As La Mono Estrellada waves, but not so enthusiastically here in Sevilla.
He has his 12, but at 30% from the floor, he has really struggled defensively. And he hasn't been what you would hope he'd be. He is a quality basketball player. You need that leadership from your leading guys. And in these moments, this is when it's good to be the leader. This is when you want them to step up. Good shot. Got the ball later in the offense.
Not a lot of passing.
No,
but it was a good shot for him.
And he got it a little later. Someone else brought it down. Rivera brought it down, and this is where you'd like to see him really show. Get down and play some defense.
Safar, again, guarded by Rivera. Scola with that turnaround. That is a registered trademark. Yep. Luis Scola, Inc.
And I think Diaz just got scored in the block.
Correa with a long three. It's in finally. The second three in a row. It's now a 23-point difference. And if this difference holds, this game could haunt Puerto Rico if for some reason they were to lose to, say, Senegal or the Philippines, which may happen as we see a foul from Rivera before the shot. So Rivera goes to Miami Christian High. Barea is older. He's got to become the off guard as we see Barea scoring. And then when Barea graduates and goes to Northeastern, Rivera becomes a McDonald's All-American. And he's a third point guard in this team.
But this game has the same sort of hallmarks as the prep game. They had 50 fouls in the prep game. They're racking fouls up here like they're going out of fashion.
Use them or lose them.
And it's there were a lot of free throws in that prep game. There were a lot of free throws today. The major difference is
pressure, and Puerto Rico wasn't even ready for that. Here comes Rivera.
Argentina's
back on the court.
Yeah. Argentina's defense still the same, still making it hard. Campazzo, that's great defense. Bounce through that screen.
Cross-court pass. Galindo opens up with the dribble, and he shoots and scores in rhythm.
Yeah, and you've got to like the fact that's what he does. That's what he does. He's not trying to fool stuff. That's what he brings.
3.5 to go. Again, the point differential matters in these FIBA tournaments, and it may matter in this group depending on what happens from now on, as there's a double dribble by Campazzo. Ramon Clemente back, and you see a little splint, and Clemente Scola takes a breather. We don't see that often in this game. He played the entire first half, all 20 minutes.
Yeah. He's sitting down now, job done, basically.
Ooh, but he loses the handle, and he finally loses the ball. Again, took his eye off the ball, and he's becoming a villain, Barea, in the eyes of many Argentine fans.
Well, and he's becoming very frustrated and not necessarily dealing with it how you'd expect a veteran to deal with it. Campazzo is a joy to watch at the moment in the way that he is growing into being part of this team.
Back in his hands, he lines up a three. It's offline, rebounded by Galindo. And Gutierrez couldn't foul him, but Galindo lost the handle. Galindo should have never avoided contact.
He would have definitely ran into Gutierrez and got the foul.
D'Elia back in the game for Argentina. Trying to feed him, but he doesn't establish position. So now Prigioni, nice inside pass to Gutierrez. 10 seconds to shoot. That's a foul.
Offensive.
Yes, sir. Marcos Mata with the offensive foul in the turnover. And that is his fifth. So Mata, the one-time starter, goes out with 2 points, no rebounds, 1 assist, and 5 personal fouls.
What does this tell you about how much Walter Herman wants to play basketball? Game's done for him. He still wants to make the contribution. Coach says, do you want to go? He's up.
It may be that he wants the rhythm.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose it. That's right.
2:40 to go. Ricky Sanchez fouled by Gutierrez. They do not give him the continuation. 2 shots.
So Ricky Sanchez catches it on the three-point line. Quick first step, gets away from the defense because of the little screen coming down to give him a bit of space, and attacks the basket.
Played for Regatas de Corrientes in Argentina, 52 games, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, almost a steal per game, 76% free throw shooter. He started his career in Argentina with Estudiantes de Bahía Blanca. He makes a second one in a quick transition by Argentina. Up by 21. Puerto Rico trying to chip away that long, big lead. Herman again. Oh, against Barea. Nice turnaround. Oh. He can't make it, though. He did everything but make the shot.
That's a roll back the years for Walter Herman. That quick spin, the pull-up.
Galindo offline. Rebounded by Herman. They call him El Gringo, the Yankee, the American. And apparently he had some interest from Spanish league teams before he signed with Flamengo.
Well, his reputation here is huge. His performances in Malaga when they won a championship were unbelievable.
Over to Gutierrez with a nice fake. They take him away with the three-point line, and he can't make the shot this time. The ball in the hands of Galindo up front to Barea. Corner shot, Rivera. It's good. 2-point shot for Carlos Rivera. And now it's a 19-point difference. Every point counts for Puerto Rico and Argentina.
Absolutely, for both teams.
But especially for Puerto Rico. Campazzo. It's a three-pointer.
And Brera didn't close him out, kept his hands down, and Campazzo just knocked it down.
It's just great to see, as we see Barea shoot and score, it's great to see how seamlessly Prigioni and Campazzo change roles. They have a way of just recognizing it and quickly going for what the team needs or what may be available.
Yep.
In that case, Prigioni wasn't the point. Campazzo recognized he just opened up for a three.
It's a genuine, like lots of people talk about running 2 guards or 3 guards. In this instance, it's a genuine 2 guard.
Combo guard.
Yeah, genuine in the sense that it doesn't matter who runs the role coming down the floor. They just slot in. And Barrera's getting a lot of dead points, so to speak, in this game.
That's a 3. By the way, Pablo Prigioni, now Campazzo's at the point. Prigioni has 10 assists so far and 9 points.
You always like the double-double with the assists. I love it.
Exactly. As their foul before the shot, and that would be on Ramon Clemente. Clemente has dinged, fractured, twisted, or hurt his pinky finger on the left hand 3 times this year, including that game against Turkey. The last game played by Puerto Rico, they were blown out badly by the Turkish team. Marcos Delia to the line. He says he has no recollection. He must have been, let's say, about 12 years old when the Golden Generation won gold in Athens. He goes, I don't remember.
That's an amazing admission. You might, if you didn't remember, you may lie about it, maybe. But
no, in other words, he wasn't necessarily much of a basketball player.
He just wasn't in the environment.
Right. Here comes Rivera. Inside out to Sanchez. Nice tip, but in the hands of Prigioni. Over to Campazzo. Back to Herman for the lead-in. Nice way to run. A 3-on-2 fast break off the Puerto Rico turnover. Sanchez aims a long 3. No good. 1 pass, 1 shot.
1 pass, 1 shot, and Sanchez settles for a 3.
Here comes Herman. Strong foul by Sanchez.
See, I don't like the foul. I don't like the foul because the game is dead, and he's not trying to play defense. It's not like there's a great execution on the break. Next time when they run the play the next time.
Did Sanchez have a chance to get to a position to make it a little bit tougher instead of just slapping him?
He could have tried to block it even. He just slapped him.
Herman has lived a lot of tragedy and triumph in his life. He played in the NBA. He said that it was a kind of a free-form style that suited his abilities, but he never became a dependable part of the rotation. And as you see, a nice play by Alex Franklin taking the ball away on the top of the cylinder. Oh boy. Campazo gets slapped and Barea gets hit. Third foul on Leo Gutierrez, Cordoba, Argentina. He played in the league his first year, and you can say that's simply a rookie, the luck of a rookie. Gutierrez ended up playing for Olimpia de Venado Tuerto and won the championship. Then he won 3 with Atenas, 1 with Ben-Hur, 1 with Boca, and 4 with Peñarol. Oh, what a play. Make that 3. Make that 3 beverages.
Oh, it's at least 3. They should get 1 for free as well.
Rivera, short. Look at Herman. And that is the end of the game. Argentina handles Puerto Rico easily by 23, 98-75. And everything broke Argentina's way. They won the game, they won by a lot, and the youngsters showed up.
It's just a quality professional performance, 1 to 12. And the staff, everything.
Salem Safar with 18 points off the bench. Facu Campazo, 8 assists. And Marcos D'Elia, in 8 minutes of play, ended up with 8 points.
Yeah, and I think the keys to it is that Argentina played both ends of the floor. You know, they won the battle on the glass. 22 assists, only 5 assists for Puerto Rico. Only 10 turnovers on the game. They just weren't challenged when they had the basketball. And they got what they wanted, and now they've got a game under their belt where they're able to put their game on the floor. Scola with 20, Nocioni with 18, Safar with 18. And Scola and Nocioni will love the fact that Safar is up there as the 3rd scorer. Barrera had 24, but most of those were in the 4th quarter when the game was pretty much done.
They will get, however, very, very little rest coming up, and then they will have a game tomorrow against Croatia, so they'll basically not practice before that game. They may have a little walkthrough. Puerto Rico will play Senegal in the 2nd game tomorrow, and that will be an even more critical game for Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah, and the thing, though, I suppose the evening out for Croatia, they've had to play the overtime, whereas from minute 1, this Argentinian team were in control, got what they wanted.
Dictated.
Absolutely dictated. And there were some moments, there were ways that Puerto Rico could have made this a competitive game. But without the contribution for Arroyo and Barrera when it mattered, they didn't have the defensive or offensive production to live with a team that loves to share the basketball.
Indeed, and they look and seek the best play available, not necessarily their shot, my shot, your shot. Nocioni had a monster game, looking trim, looking fit, a total bruiser. There'll be a lot of ice handed out in the Puerto Rico camp because of Chapu Nocioni tonight.
They were just, well, I think you take your lead, and I think we talked about, you take your lead from your veterans, and if Walter Herman wants to play in the last 2 minutes, that tells you a lot about where this team is. If Prigioni is comfortable with Campazo in the backcourt, that's a hell of a combination. If Safar can add those types of shooting stats, their 1 and 2 spots are looking good for the competition. It's one game, we don't get carried away, but Argentina are used to being involved at the sharp end of these tournaments. That was an impressive performance.
Even when Marcos Mata makes his 3, the entire bench and team exploded because they understood what that meant.
Yep, absolutely. And if you didn't see, you wouldn't have seen it on the film, on the pictures here, but every time something good happened to this Argentinian lineup, Andreas Nocioni, when he was on the bench, was the lead cheerleader. He was up, encouraging, and leading all the way through the game.
Puerto Rico, that's a great nifty move by Prigioni. Beautiful play. He shows the ball.
Disappointed he didn't get the double-figure points, because doubles with its assists are great.
Not that he cares.
Not that he cares. That's more for us, because we could talk about it a lot.
Right. Now, Barrera had, of course, his points. He ended up with 24 to lead Puerto Rico, but they were basically what we call garbage time points. Needed by Puerto Rico because of the point differential, but didn't really make a difference in the outcome of the game. Puerto Rico has a lot to think about.
Well, he had
and I
14.
wonder to what point, and we're not there, and I'm not going to ask you the answer because you don't know it, to what point is the instruction being given and not followed, or the instructions are not clear to these players?
Well, you've answered the question. We don't know, but for me, it looked like they were doing this themselves. There's no way Olmos was going to say do that.
Argentina beats Puerto Rico handily 98-75. We'll be back in a few minutes with the last game here in Group B. Senegal faces Greece. Good night, everyone.